Snakes and Ladders is an old board and dice game, as you can see. So you start on square one, and the idea is to eventually land up at square 100. You throw your dice like 2, so 1, 2, whoa, that's nice, up the ladder. So you go up the ladders and down the snakes. So now let's think about area. So I just flipped over the board there. So now, say we have to calculate the area of this square. Well, what you have to think about is, well, what units are we going to measure? I mean, are we going to measure in? Are we going to use units of this size? Or we could also use units of that size to measure our area. Now, depending on the units or the squares, if you like, we use, we'll get different answers. So clearly there'll be more of these squares that make up the big square than these. So it's important that we decide on our standard unit of measurement. So let's flip it over. There we go. So if I use the little squares, then the little squares, well, you can see that there will be 100 of these. So we could say the area is 100 little squares. If I use these squares, then the answer this time will be 25 squares. Let us consider a rectangle. There's a rectangle. Flip it over. I've divided it into squares, and you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares this way, 3 squares this way, so my area will be 15 squares. If I haven't decided on any units, I will just say 15 square units. If the rectangle is small, I might use centimeters squared, in which case it will be 15 square centimeters. Each square centimeter being 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. Now, say it's a really small square, and you might use millimeters. Each square would be square millimeters, so each square will be 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter this time. So your area now would be 15 square millimeters. If it was really big, you might use square meters. So now your square would be 1 meter by 1 meter, in which case that would be a square meter, and you would have a rectangle of 15 square meters.